The rain fell like an endless curtain, drumming against the roof and splashing in muddy puddles outside. The streetlights flickered, casting long, trembling shadows through the cracked window panes of the little house. Inside, the world was still, except for the soft, rhythmic breathing of two tiny lives. Daniel sat in the dim glow of a single lamp, his arms wrapped tightly around his daughter Amara. Her small hand rested against his chest, her skin warm and soft. Not far away, Ada slept peacefully in her crib, her chest rising and falling gently with each breath. They were the center of Daniel's entire universe. Just a few hours earlier, the house had been filled with laughter and the soft hum of Miriam's voice singing a lullaby. Her eyes sparkled as she looked at the twins, full of hope and love. But now, the house was silent, empty, her presence erased as if by a cruel wind. The front door hung open, banging softly in the rainstorm's breath. On the cold wooden floor lay a small folded note, soaked and fragile. Daniel's heart pounded as he reached for it, fingers trembling with dread. Unfolding the paper slowly, he read the words over and over, their meaning sinking deep into his soul. "I'm sorry. I have to go. It's for your good and for theirs. Trust me someday." No more words, no clues, no goodbye. 1,000 questions swirled in Daniel's mind, each one heavier than the last. Why did Miriam leave like this, without a word, without a warning? Was she afraid? Was she running from something? Or was there something she couldn't tell him, something dark that threatened their family? Daniel's eyes filled with tears he fought to hold back. He felt as if the ground had given way beneath him. How was he to raise these tiny girls alone, when he was still learning to be a father himself? The wind outside howled, as if mourning with him. A flash of lightning illuminated the empty doorway, and Daniel imagined Miriam's shadow disappearing into the night, fading from his life forever. He looked down at Amara's peaceful face and felt a fierce surge of determination. She and Ada had done nothing wrong. They needed him more than ever. He whispered to Amara, "I promise, I will never leave you. I will keep you safe, and I will find the answers to why your mother left us." But even as he spoke, the house seemed colder, the nights longer, and the path ahead filled with uncertainty. Daniel knew one thing clearly. This was only the beginning of a journey filled with heartache, secrets, and battles he could not yet see. And somewhere, far away in the shadows of the storm, Miriam's footsteps disappeared, swallowed by the night, and by a past that would not let her go easily. The days after Miriam left were the hardest Daniel had ever known. The house felt empty and quiet, except for the soft sounds of his daughter's breathing and the occasional creak of the old wooden floor. The walls seemed to close in on him as the weight of his new life pressed down. Every morning, before the sun peeked over the rooftops, Daniel was already awake. He tiptoed into the nursery to lift Amara and Ada from their cribs. Their soft curls tickled his cheek as he kissed their small foreheads. Their sleepy smiles were the only light in his dark world. He dressed them in tiny clothes, trying to make their days bright, even when his own heart felt heavy. "Good morning, my sunshine," he whispered to each girl, hoping they could feel his love through his tired voice. By day, Daniel wore a security guard's uniform and a determined smile, but inside, he was scared. His shifts were long and tiring. He walked the halls of a tall office building, watching cameras and checking doors, all while his mind raced with worry about his daughters and their future. At night, after he got home, he changed into his cleaning uniform and worked late at a small restaurant. He scrubbed floors and wiped tables while the city slept, dreaming of a better life for Amara and Ada. One evening, after a long day, Daniel sat alone at the small kitchen table. The soft glow of a single lamp lit up the bills spread before him. Electricity, water, rent, and food. The numbers seemed to grow bigger with every glance. His hands trembled as he traced the lines on the paper. Suddenly, Amara ran in, holding a crumpled drawing she had made at daycare. "Daddy, look, we made a house today," she said, her eyes sparkling with pride. Daniel smiled through the exhaustion and lifted her onto his lap. The drawing was simple, a little square house with a triangle roof, 2 stick figures holding hands, and a sun shining in the sky. "It's beautiful, Amara," Daniel said softly. "One day, we'll live in a house just like that, with flowers and a garden." Amara giggled and ran to show Ada, who clapped her tiny hands and bounced happily. But as the girls played, Daniel's smile faded. How would he make that dream real? How could he give them a safe home when money was so tight? That night, as the twins slept peacefully, Daniel sat in the dark, holding Ada close. Her tiny fingers curled around his shirt as she whimpered softly in her sleep. "I promise, Ada," Daniel whispered, his voice breaking. "No matter what, I will protect you and Amara. I will never leave you." But the promise felt heavy, like a stone in his chest. A few days later, there was a knock at the door. Daniel opened it to see the landlord's stern face. "Daniel, the rent is overdue by 2 months, the landlord said. "You have 1 week to pay, or you'll have to leave." Daniel's throat tightened. "I'm working on it," he said, but he knew it might not be enough. Then, strange things started happening. At night, the phone would ring, once, twice, and then silence when Daniel picked up. The twins whispered about shadows moving in the corners of their room, soft footsteps when no one was there, and doors creaking open on their own. Daniel's skin prickled with fear. Was someone watching them? Was Miriam's leaving connected to these strange events? One evening, as Daniel sat comforting a scared Amara, a loud knock came at the door. His heart leapt. No one was there when he opened it, but a small folded piece of paper lay on the doorstep. Daniel picked it up and unfolded it carefully. It read, "Be careful. Not everyone wants you to succeed." Daniel looked over his shoulder, but the street was empty. The rain started falling again, cold and heavy. He clutched the note tightly. Despite the fear, despite the loneliness and exhaustion, Daniel's promise never wavered. He whispered to himself, "I will fight for you, my girls. No matter what shadows come, I will keep you safe." And deep inside, a fire started to burn, a fire of hope, strength, and a father's love that would not be broken. The morning sun barely touched the worn wooden floorboards of the little house as Daniel sat by the window, his eyes never leaving the 2 tiny figures curled up on the couch. Amara and Ada were asleep, at least for now, but their faces looked pale, almost too fragile for such young girls. The soft, rattling cough that came from their chests haunted Daniel's every waking moment. He reached out gently and brushed a lock of tangled hair from Ada's forehead. His fingers trembled. The weight of helplessness crushed him like a stone. Daniel had taken them to the local clinic more times than he could count. The doctor gave them medicines and advice, but nothing seemed to make the cough go away. Every night was filled with whispered prayers and long hours spent holding his daughters close, hoping they would breathe easier by morning. One late afternoon, Daniel felt a restless urgency inside him. He needed answers, anything to explain why his family's life was unraveling. So he began sorting through Miriam's things in the closet. The air smelled faintly of lavender and dust, mingling with the quiet sadness of an empty home. That was when his hand touched something unexpected. A small, dusty wooden box, hidden behind a stack of old clothes. The box was carved with strange symbols he didn't recognize, mysterious shapes that seemed to glow faintly under his touch. With cautious fingers, Daniel lifted the lid. Inside lay a collection of yellowed letters tied with faded ribbons, photographs of Miriam with strangers whose faces he could not place, and a delicate necklace resting on a soft velvet pillow. Daniel's breath caught. The pendant of the necklace shimmered faintly, casting tiny sparks of light that danced across the room's shadows. Could this be a gift from Miriam? He wondered aloud. As he held the necklace out, the twins' tired eyes found the glowing light. Amara reached out with a weak but hopeful hand and touched the pendant. Immediately, a soft warmth spread through the room, and the girls smiled. A small, precious smile that made Daniel's heart swell with relief. That night, Daniel sat beside the twins' beds, the glowing necklace warm in his palm. His mind was a whirlwind of questions. Who was Miriam really? Why had she left without a word? What secrets had she hidden in this mysterious box? As exhaustion overtook him, Daniel slipped into a dream. He found himself standing by a mist-covered river. Miriam was there, her figure glowing softly in the early dawn. Around her neck hung the same shimmering necklace. Her eyes were filled with sorrow and love as she spoke softly. "Trust me," she said, her voice like a whispering breeze. "One day, you will understand why I had to go. This gift will protect them when I cannot." Then, she faded into the swirling mist, swallowed by the river's dark waters. Daniel awoke with a start. The necklace still glowed softly in his hand, and though he was drenched in sweat, a strange calm settled in his heart. He knew the road ahead would be long and dangerous. The twins' illness, the hidden box, and this glowing necklace. They were all pieces of a secret puzzle that could change everything. Outside, the night was silent, but Daniel felt eyes watching from the shadows, unseen forces waiting for their chance. Yet Daniel's determination blazed brighter than ever. For Amara and Ada, for the family they once were and the future they still could have, he would face every fear, unlock every secret, and fight to protect them, no matter the cost. The years moved slowly, like soft ripples across a quiet lake. Amara and Ada blossomed from fragile babies into bright, curious young girls, full of life and wonder. Their coughing fits were now only whispers of the past, replaced by laughter that filled the small house with warmth. Their smiles returned, lighting Daniel's world like the morning sun chasing away the shadows. Daniel, though exhausted from his many jobs, never showed his fatigue to the girls. Each day began before dawn and ended long after the stars had claimed the sky. But every tired step, every aching muscle, was a testament to his love and promise. For Amara and Ada, he would give everything, even if it meant breaking his own body. School was a place of magic for the twins. Books and lessons opened new worlds, feeding their hunger for knowledge. They asked endless questions about the stars, the world, and the future. Daniel sat with them every night, telling stories of their mother's courage, weaving a tale of strength and hope. He carefully left out the pain of her sudden leaving, focusing instead on the love she had for them. "You come from strong roots," Daniel would say, holding their hands gently. "You're meant for greatness, my girls." Inspired by those words and the mysterious glowing necklace their mother had left behind, Amara and Ada dreamed bigger than the small walls around them. They dreamed of building something that could change their lives and the lives of others. It started simply. One warm afternoon, the twins set up a lemonade stand on their front porch with their father's help. Amara squeezed lemons, her small hands sticky with juice. Ada arranged cups carefully on a rickety table. "Lemonade for sale," they called out, their voices bright and hopeful. At first, only a few neighbors stopped, but word spread quickly. Soon, the small stand was buzzing with people, drawn not just by thirst, but by the twins' bright smiles and hard work. Every coin earned was a step toward their dreams, but with success came shadows. One afternoon, a man named Mr. Okoro arrived at their doorstep. Tall and sharply dressed, he greeted them with a friendly smile. "I've heard about your business," he said smoothly. "You have talent. I'd like to help you grow it." Daniel welcomed him cautiously, desperate for support. Mr. Okoro seemed kind, offering advice, small loans, and connections that promised to open doors the family had never imagined. The lemonade stand grew into a snack stall. Amara and Ada began selling pastries and cold drinks, their profits doubling. The family's hope blossomed anew, but Daniel's instincts whispered warnings. Mr. Okoro asked questions that felt too deep, about Miriam, their money, their plans. He made late-night calls Daniel couldn't hear, his voice low and urgent. Sometimes Daniel spotted him standing outside, watching their home in the dark. One day, Amara found a note slipped under their door. The handwriting was neat, but cold. "Stop now. Some dreams bring danger." Daniel's heart clenched. More notes followed, each one more threatening. The twins whispered about shadows in their rooms, footsteps when no one was there. Fear crept back like an unwelcome guest. Daniel's mind raced. Was this the same threat that had torn their family apart years ago? Was someone still trying to control their future, or silence it? Despite the fear, Daniel refused to stop. The girl's eyes sparkled with dreams, and he could not let darkness win. Late into the night, Amara and Ada worked tirelessly on a new invention, a simple machine to help people who worked hard all day, like their father. It was small, but it held the promise of a better tomorrow. One evening, under the soft glow of a single lamp, they showed Daniel their creation. Their faces shone with pride and hope. "This is only the start, Daddy," Amara said, voice steady despite the shadows around them. Daniel hugged them tightly. "Together, we will build something the world has never seen," he whispered, his voice full of love and determination. But outside, the night was alive with watchers. Eyes glinted in the darkness, waiting. The family's dreams grew stronger, and so did the dangers that hunted them. The air outside was cold and heavy, pressing against the walls of the little house like an unseen weight. Inside, Daniel sat in silence, the soft glow of a single lamp barely lighting the room. The shadows stretched long across the floor, and his thoughts were darker still. It had been years since Miriam left, yet her absence hung over them like a thick fog, never fading, never lifting. The twins were growing, their smiles brighter than ever, but the past was not done with them. One evening, as Daniel turned the key in the lock, a chill ran down his spine. There, on the doorstep, stood a man. Tall, silent, watching with eyes that seemed to see everything. The flickering porchlight cast strange shadows across his face, half hiding, half revealing. "I need to talk to you," the stranger said, his voice low and serious. "About Miriam, about your family." Daniel's heart beat so loudly he feared it would betray his fear. Who was this man? How did he know so much? Without waiting, the man stepped inside. "My name is Mr. Ease," he said. "I was close to Miriam. We shared secrets she kept to protect you all." Daniel sat down, his hands gripping the chair as if it were the only thing holding him up. "She was running from something dangerous," Mr. Ease continued, his voice barely above a whisper. "Enemies who would stop at nothing to destroy her family." Daniel swallowed hard, the pieces of the past falling into place with a sickening weight. Mr. Ease pulled out an old, creased photograph. Miriam stood in the center, flanked by people with hard, unforgiving eyes. Faces Daniel didn't recognize, some familiar only from shadows in his nightmares. She was caught in a web of secrets and power, Mr. Ease said. "She left to keep you safe, but those enemies have found their way back." Before Daniel could ask more, a sharp knock echoed from the window. The house seemed to hold its breath. Daniel's pulse hammered in his ears. "They're watching," Mr. Ez said grimly, "closer than ever." That night, Daniel sat beside the sleeping twins, their soft breaths a fragile shield against the encroaching darkness. He traced the delicate curve of the glowing necklace Miriam had left, hoping its mysterious power was enough to protect them. But the twins were not blind to the danger. Whispers echoed through the hallways, shadows flickered at the edge of their vision. Threatening notes appeared again. Folded warnings slipped under doors, words filled with hidden menace. At school, Ada's innocent question cut through Daniel's heart. "Daddy, why do I feel like someone is following me?" He held her tight, fighting tears. "I don't know, sweetheart, but I promise I will keep you safe. Always." Then came the calls. Anonymous voices, cold and threatening, warning Daniel to stop looking for answers. Walls that once felt safe now seemed to close in. The past was no longer a distant memory, but a living, breathing danger. Yet Daniel's spirit burned brighter. He would not let fear take his family. He would stand firm, face the shadows, fight for their future. Because the greatest battles were still ahead, and he would win them. For Amara, for Ada, for the family they were destined to be. What mysterious dangers forced Miriam to leave her family? How will Daniel keep his daughters safe amid the growing threats? Will the glowing necklace hold the key to their protection? If you're hooked by this tale of courage, mystery, and a father's fierce love, don't miss part 2, where the secrets unravel and the fight for family reaches new heights. Click to watch the next part now and find out what fate holds for Daniel and his daughters.